Hi, welcome back to Style Your Dreams with Keri Blair. And I have an amazing special guest today, which I'm so excited about. It's Kearran Giovanni. And some of you may have heard of her, and some of you may not yet, but you need to know this woman. So she is an amazing actress, mother, wife, many other things. But why I specifically wanted her on the podcast because she's one of the most friendliest, outgoing, kindest people I've ever met.
Oh my
So
gosh.
welcome.
Thank you. That is some intro. I'm flattered. Thank you very much.
Yes. So first of all, I want to just share how we met
I
because
know.
that's
I
what
love these. I love these kind of stories. Okay, go.
so random, right? And that's why I did the intro the way that I did because I don't know you as the famous actress that you are. I know you as this awesome woman that I met on a boat in Cabo,
Where all good things happen. Hello.
right? So we went to Cabo for spring break. Stella, Ken, and you and your gorgeous family. And we just happened to meet on a boat, and you just radiate pure joy. And that's why I was attracted to getting to know you. I was like, who is this gorgeous woman who radiates pure joy? I need to know her. So we got to talking, and we have a lot of similar philosophies and things in common. So I'm so glad that we kept in touch, and that you agreed to be on my podcast. So I'm excited.
Yay, me too. And yes, those like random encounters. I feel like people with certain energy find each other and like
Yeah.
my girls call me chatty. You can call me whatever you want. I feel like I find people that I'm like, oh, that is a wonderful, fun, outgoing person that's like enjoying life, right?
Yeah.
Like, let me connect with that person because that's who,
Mhm.
you want to spend your time with and your chats with. And so yeah, I felt the same way about you, and I was like, cool, I'm gonna have like I'll make a friend on the boat. And yes, I love keeping in touch with people that I meet on vacation. You meet people from all over the world.
Right.
I find it fascinating. I met someone a couple of years ago in Cabo too. We were taking pictures in the pool with the kids and stuff, and she said, "Do you want me to take some pictures of you? I kind of do photography on the side." She took the most amazing pictures like of our family, and then we got to chatting, whatever. Anyway, she works for the CIA. It was like the most fascinating story. We chatted and then we hung out for the next couple days by the pool, and we keep in touch still, and make sure she's doing okay. But yeah, it's just, you find your people, you feel the energy. And I just feel like that's just a lifelong way to live. So
I love it. I
yeah.
love it. I totally agree with you. And you were mentioning you have friends all over the country and you travel a lot. So I love that. And it inspires me. I love the same thing. My daughter always meets people wherever we go because, as you know, Stella's very outgoing,
Yes.
more than me. And yeah, we have friends all over the country because she meets them in hot tubs or
Yeah.
on boats or
Totally. Yep.
at the
Yep. We're the same.
pool.
We're that family. We are totally that family. I also feel
So
like
much.
it's so interesting to hear other people's, just way of life, even though sometimes it could be
Yeah.
within the United States, like someone else's life in Kansas is different from your life in New York or LA or whatever. I just feel like it makes community if everybody in our country just like chatted with each other from all different walks of life and all different
Right.
places, like imagine how different like the
Mhm.
world would be, or at least our country would be. So yeah, I love to hear people's stories, or
Yeah. And
yeah.
that's why I love travel too. And then it turns out both of our husbands are in the same industry.
I know, so random, right?
And then both of our daughters are like Greeking out fiend. Like
Oh
they
yeah,
both love Greek mythology.
so funny. I know,
And
yes.
what are the odds
Exactly. Like
that
what
they're
are the
like,
odds? But I feel like that's how it works. Like the universe is like, oh, look at this. I'm just gonna
I
sprinkle
know.
some dust on it. So they
I
find
love it. I love it.
it.
I love it. So, first thing is, I noticed when I was getting ready to get on this podcast, I became aware to me that I have rituals. Do you have rituals when you're getting ready to go on set or like things that you just have to do? I'll tell you what mine are. So before I go on a podcast, whether it's mine or someone else's, I have to clean my office. Like I
Okay.
have to, everything has to be off my desk and I have to Windex my desk down And I also light Palo Santo
All right. I
to
like
like kind of cleanse the space. So
that.
those are my like rituals. And I never realized they were rituals. And today I brought aware, I was like, oh yeah, I do that every single time.
Do I have rituals? I don't know. I guess it depends. Not really.
Not really.
I really have to be like extra prepared if especially when I'm
Mm.
like new on a show or something like that. I probably go over my lines 55,000 times. I get
Yeah.
up 2 hours early. I do them in the car with the radio off. I drink a tea. Like I definitely have like certain things. I can't eat when I first get to set. Like I absolutely cannot eat anything. I have to just like
Yeah.
I don't know why. It's not like I'm trying to starve myself. I just like I cannot eat. I have to wait until at least I get like a scene or two in, and then I can like throw some eggs on a grill, you know? But
Okay. Well, that's a
yeah,
ritual.
I like my stomach's just not ready for it. And I don't
Yeah.
need any bubblies, you know, like in
Yeah.
a quiet scene, you're like, oh. So I don't really do that. But yeah, I guess it just depends on the show. I don't know.
Okay.
I
But
don't,
that's good. All
yeah.
right. So let's go into I want to talk to you about being an actress first. So this was Stella's number one question. She made sure, Mommy, please ask her this
Mhm.
question because I know as young girls, especially, um, I think a lot of the young girls dream of being something famous, like being an actress or a singer or an astronaut these days, or whatever we want to
Sure.
become.
Yeah.
But in the spirit of fulfilling our dreams, so did you always dream of being an actress?
No.
Oh, so tell me about that.
I didn't actually. I was going to be an OBGYN. I
Okay.
had like dreams of that since I was a child. I just want to deliver people's babies. I played with
Oh,
dolls till I was 13. I had like a very full, like, I was like, this is it. This is what I was going to do. And then all the while, I always danced and I did gymnastics and I kind of had a whole performing arts side, but I never really thought like, oh, a career, right? I grew up in
hmm.
Texas, Louisiana. Like, it just wasn't like, nobody in my family was in the arts. They were all in very kind of, regular jobs that you would, think of. And it wasn't until I was in high school and I left my regular high school in Katy, Texas, and I was dancing and I got into HSPVA, which is the High School for the Performing and Visual Arts in Houston. And once I got there and I was introduced to these people that were so alive and so
Mm.
artistic and so whose dreams were going to be to leave that high school and be an artist as their career. It was then that I was like, oh, I could actually do this and be surrounded
Wow.
by total wackos just like me. Like I was like, oh, where have you guys been hiding my whole life? Before then I'd gone to a school of 4,000 in Katy, Texas. Very, I stood out like a sore thumb. There were like three black kids in the entire school. It was a tough couple of
Yeah.
years. So once I started that, I went there for dance first, and then they send some kind of recruiters for different musical theater programs and acting programs around the country. And I still wasn't sure, but I thought, you know what, I'm gonna give it a try, and we'll see. So I got into school regular. I got into Rice and NYU and some other schools just to go to school, and then I was going to go to med school. And then I got into CCM, which is a musical theater conservatory in Cincinnati. And they had sent kind of their reps down. And, I met would be my acting coach for the next 4 years. And he basically was like, you got to do this. Like, you've got to at least give it a try. And I was like, okay, okay, okay. So I got into that school, and my parents were like, if it doesn't work, you can always come back and go to one of the other schools. It's not the end of the world. But what my parents always told me was that you have to make a choice. Like not making a
Mm.
choice is a choice. You have to something, you can always change your mind, but if you don't try the path, then you've given up, your power. You've got to decide. And so yeah, so I moved to Cincinnati, Ohio, sight unseen, never even saw the school. And I spent the next 4 years, learning musicals and doing musicals and meeting other weirdos like myself and who I'm still very close with. And moved to New York after my 4 years and it kind of just all worked. I mean, I stayed at school for the 4 years. We have a cut program. I didn't get cut. So, and that's like a whole thing in the musical theater school world. And then I went on to do like Lion King was my first show after college, and then it just kind of it just kept working. You know, I was like, okay, if it doesn't work, I'm still young enough to change, and
Wow.
apparently I made the right choice, and because the universe has kind of kept giving me work, and I've been really, really very, very, very blessed with
I
what I've
love
gotten to
that.
do so far. So, I love it. And I love it. And it's like any other business, it has its ups and downs and it's got crazy times and crazy highs and crazy lows, but it's like a drug. I mean, yeah, you can't help it. If you love it and you're supposed to do it,
Yeah.
you can't stay away
Okay,
from it.
here's what I love
So,
in your story. I mean, so much, but here's what I really, really love in your story is that I feel like so many people, we think we know what our path is. We think, in fact, we get
mhm.
so committed and so like attached, and we're holding on with like both arms and both legs, and we don't allow the universe to do what it's magical at, which is putting us on the actual path, right? God, universe, whatever we want to say. And I
Yep.
love that in
Whatever.
every
Yep.
moment you have a choice, right? You can go to medical school, you can go to acting school. Like every moment you have a choice. And it sounds like that every time you had a choice, you chose your heart, which was acting, instead of what you
Yeah.
thought you were
Yeah.
supposed to
Yeah.
do, which was deliver babies. Or
Right.
I think that's the other thing is like who we are when we're 5 is much different than who we are when we're 20.
Exactly. Yeah. And exactly what you said. I think, yeah, we hold on to this idea of ourselves or idea of what happiness will be in the future instead of just living in like what it should be right now. Like right
Yeah,
now, this is the right choice. And it might not be the right choice in 10 years and 5 years and 50 years, but for right now, it's the right choice. And everything that happens in that moment of that choice is because you made
right.
that exact choice. So, yeah, you can. I tell my kids that too. Like, right, they're getting older, and one's going to be starting to look at colleges and stuff. And I'm like, you know, you can you can change later. Right now, what is it? Not every person, but the huge percentage of people have 3 career shifts within their lifetime now,
Mm-mm.
which never used to happen, right? People were like, I'm a postman.
Yeah.
I'm a postman till the day I die. That's what I do. Right now, it's like, oh, I started this. I'm going to pivot. I'm going to do this. I'm going to pivot. I'm going to
Yeah.
start a clothing line. You know what I mean? I think in a way, we've given ourselves a little more permission as a society to make change, and feel good about it and not ashamed and it's not a failure. Change is not a failure. Like, I don't know when we got into that mindset of like, oh
Hmm.
no, this didn't work. It's a failure. It's not. It's a choice.
Yeah.
It's a chance to do something else, right? And expand who you are. So, every day is a different thing here on the acting front. And it gives me, I still have opportunities to do so many other things if I wanted to in my off time or my free time or whatever it is. But yeah, there's no
Yeah.
failure. There's
Well, I
just
feel like
another
our
chance.
society has changed in the sense of like, manifesting is the buzzword right now in society, or like dreaming,
Hmm.
which I love because I feel like that's what's given us permission to make a choice now and have it change. And that's totally
Yeah,
fine because we change as human beings. I feel like back in the day, people didn't change and they did what their parents
right,
expected of them to do. And then they went in their career and they stuck to it because that said something about the kind of person they were. And and I feel
right,
like
exactly.
society today, we're a little more like, it's okay. Like, just be you.
Yeah. I mean, every generation has jobs that'll never be created that, aren't even there yet, that down the road will be a job. Like, who would have thought influencing was a job, right? Like, it's a real legit job. I'm not like knocking it. It's like there are
Right.
people that make full livings
Telling other people what
telling,
to wear.
showing you, yeah, or like what lipstick you want. Like, I mean, good for you, for better, or for worse, knock yourself out. Those jobs were not there. There wasn't
No.
podcast the way there is now. There wasn't, so many things. So, to put yourself in a box at 18 and say, this is it, you know, you're not even like, you just started driving 2 years ago. You can't even drink yet. Like, chill. Like, go, like, figure some stuff out, go to school, work hard. And then if you work hard, you give yourself the
Yeah.
opportunity to
Okay,
make
good. So
choices,
what advice
you know?
would you give someone who maybe like Stella or maybe someone older, but what advice would you give someone who really wants to be a professional singer or actress? What advice would you have for them?
Um, I think blanket just any age is that you have to get,
Mhm.
there's got to be training, right? There are very few people that just like pop into the business, right? That are just like, today I'm going to be an actor. Find whatever acting school you can go to, teacher, musical studio that you can get yourself into, and learn about it. It's everyone kind of makes this
Yeah.
business seem so magical, but most of the people that you see have like really done the work, whether they have like a private coach or they go to a class. Like, I know 60-year-old actors that still have a coach and still take class, and they're also
Yeah.
still working. Do you know what I mean? So you got to have the foundation there, and within that foundation you'll meet people, right? You'll network, you'll meet other actors, other singers, and that's a great way to kind of start out. You've got little jobs here, and I'll
Mm.
help you and you help me, and our business is very much about networking, and finding people that obviously you want to spend a lot of time with, because you're going to spend a lot of time with. But yeah, I would just say, like, get your training, give yourself realistic goals and dreams when you first start. Everyone's success is not like the same. Like, I have friends that are like, I'm doing regional theater for the rest of my life. They
Mm.
are thrilled. That is their success, right? Their success is that I'm going to go to Muni in St. Louis and I'm going to do the music band. I'm going to be a lead. And that is like, that is awesome. There are people that are going to do TV commercials and be thrilled with that choice. So, like, if you try to quantify, like, oh, my success is
Yeah.
I'm going to be a TV star, that's a big, you know, there's a big arc, in what we all do. There's a lot of other ways to fulfill your artist cup without being
Yeah.
like Tom Cruise. Do you know what I mean? So I would say that, like, if you love the art of doing this, whether it be singing or acting or dancing or whatever, your cup should be
Mm.
full doing your art, and the work will come. You shouldn't have this like, I'm going to be a star, because most of us are
True.
not going to be stars. You're going to do work, and you're going to go to work, and you're going to enjoy the work, and they're going to give you a paycheck for your work.
I
And that's what I do.
love that. I
That's what a
love that
lot
you
of us.
said that because as an outsider, we don't know that. Right? Like people do look at
Right.
what you do as like magical. You just like stepped into it and became successful, and that's so cool. The other day, Stella was saying she really, really wants to be a professional singer. And of course, she's obsessed with
Hmm.
Taylor Swift, as is everybody, right?
Of course.
Um, and she's like, where do I start, mommy? Oh, and then she's like, I want to be a kids bop kid. And I was like, okay,
Oh, okay.
well, we
Cool.
would have to start with auditioning. Like, and they have it on their website, how to audition. And I said, we would probably want to start with a vocal coach to make sure, and a choreographer who can help you learn the dances to do the audition. And it is funny because her first thing was, I don't need a coach. I sing beautifully, which I love that
Right.
confidence, right? Like, yes, you go, girl. And they're like, but everybody has a coach. Like whether you play tennis, whether
Right.
you sing,
Yeah.
whether you dance, whether, you have a business, like it's good to have a coach. So I love,
Yeah, even if you're the most beautiful singer in the entire world, there's still, everyone needs someone to kind of fine tune,
yeah,
their talent, so to speak. So I get it. And the kids are so funny. My little one was, for a while, was like, I'm gonna be an actor. And I was like, okay. Like, I wasn't thrilled about it, but I was like, okay, sure, I'll give you all the tools that you need. But then once they
work.
see how much work is behind it, right? Then they're like, wait a minute. I'm like, yeah, you know what? When I go upstairs into my self-tape room, 4 times a week and I'm memorizing 17 pages of dialogue during a pilot season, and then I'm crying upstairs because I can't remember it. And then, I do it 16 times and then I still get told no. That's
Yeah.
also part of acting. Like, that is part of it. That's the business side that no one really
Yes.
sees. And then she kind of was like, oh, this is really like not as fun as I thought it was going to be. And you get told no, like a lot. It takes like, you got to have a certain, kind of skin and not take it personally, and just keep getting back on the horse, because, everyone sees like the work at the end that you've done, that you get, right? Nobody sees the thousands of pages of stuff that you don't get. Like, they just see the work. So anyway, I get it, Stella. I mean, it's hard to tell
I
them no
know.
because they're so confident, right? And you're like, yeah, girl, that's it. But, once you show them the
Yeah.
work, sometimes
And I
they're
love that
like,
you just pulled back the curtain because, again, people don't know this, right? And they just see shiny
yeah,
object and they're like, yes, I'm
yeah,
going to do that. It's like, so I shared with you, I started an online course because I really wanted to take this business to the masses. I want to transform all women's lives by making them feel beautiful. And I thought there are millions of people that are doing this and making tons of money online. Like, this should be easy. Oh my
right?
word. I have been kicked in the face like 500 times. And I just keep getting back up because I'm like, no, but my mission, like what I'm committed to, is bigger than that problem I just had. And I know nothing about
Right.
this industry. And I've been super successful as a stylist for 20 years. So it's humbling, but I think everything great, and yes, things magical happen to people, but everything that's great in life takes work. Even our
Yeah.
marriages, right? Like
Yep.
everything takes work.
100.
And
Yep.
I feel like
Everything.
today, one thing that has shifted is that people think it shouldn't take work. People are resentful that it takes work, right?
Say it again, sister. Yeah, I mean, I would say if that's another piece of advice, like,
Everything.
everything takes work. Like, everything. And you're not in a well by yourself. Like, you're not the only one. If you sit there thinking, "Oh man, this I must be the only one doing all this work." A lot of people are doing work, and
Yeah.
you got to just do it. I mean, sorry, there's no other way around it. Like, maybe you were born into the Walmart family and you have billions of dollars, but like, I mean, like, good for you. But like the rest of us, like,
Yeah.
you got to do the work. I mean, and it's not always going to be pretty, and it's not always going to be, first time everything works. It might take 10 times. But if you
Mhm.
believe in yourself, I mean, that
No.
sounds so cheesy if you just believe in yourself, but like, if you know that like that is your path,
Right.
just do the work for you. Don't do it for the outcome. You know what I mean? Like, if I don't if I don't do the work for a scene or whatever I have to audition for, I don't feel right. I
Yep.
know that I've let myself down. Like, if I don't really sit and like take my time with it and like meet with my coach and do the best I can and I rush through it, I'm
Hmm.
so disappointed in myself. Even if God forbid I get the job, I'm like, oh, that I super should have done
Yeah.
more than what I just did.
And I think
Um,
that's
you
so
know,
important too, is that
so yeah.
if you find something that you're passionate about and you love, so why I started styling people back 20 years ago was because I never wanted to feel like I work. I was done working. I was like, I never want to work
Mhm.
another day. I hate it so much. And um, so I created something that I loved that made a difference with people where I never feel like I work, which is so great. And if I do, I have to fire the client because that didn't work for me. I was like, okay, you were a pain in the ass. I can't work with you
Yeah,
anymore. Like, I want to work with happy,
you're
fun,
right.
joyful people that I can change their lives. And so it sounds like that for you too.
Exactly.
Now, it doesn't mean that, things aren't hard or you don't struggle. It just means that, like, it's not hard work. Like, I have to go put in my hours, hard work. Yeah.
Totally. Yep, 100%. I mean, I think also we get to a certain age where like I'm gonna choose that. That's something
Yeah.
that we can choose now. Like, we've earned it a little bit. I couldn't have done that in my younger years. You just kind of
Agreed.
take what you can get. You work and I had kids when I was, in my 20s, so I was doing what I had to do and I worked and but now, yeah, if I see something, I be very straight with you. If I see a project with someone that I've worked with before and they're a diva or just a pain in the butt, I'm like, it's not really worth it. I'm good. I have
Yeah.
some savings. I'm fine. I won't do it because we have to be together for,
Yeah.
18 hours a day, maybe 5 days a week, maybe for 6 months. I'm like, I can't do
Mhm.
that to myself. Like, I am worth more than that. And I know that something else, universe will come and I will. And every single time, I've only done that twice, something else has been like, here you go. Here's some wonderful people to work with and a job that you're going to
Mm.
love. And it always works out. I mean, it's not always going to work out, but it has the two times that I've had to be like,
Yeah.
that's not worth it for me. That's going to really
But I
just rip
think
my
that's
soul.
how it works out is
So,
yes, I love that you said that because even if you have to take a step back, even if you have to sacrifice something in the moment, something better will come along. It if you believe. If you don't believe it won't.
yep.
But if you
It always,
believe
yep.
something better is right around the corner, you just have to be patient for it.
Yeah. And that better might not even be another job. That better might be that, like, oh, you know what? I can,
Yeah.
like, be home with my kids for a month or two. They really need me. I can, take that class that I wanted to take. I can, you know what it is? It doesn't have to
Yeah.
be like a
Totally.
tit for tat. You know what I mean? Like, oh, that success means this success is going to happen. Sometimes it's just
Yeah.
that you got extra time or something that you might not even have thought was a success or a win. But if you change your mindset to go, that is a win. That is a win. That little thing that most people would go,
Yeah.
that's a win for me. I got to, like, take my kids to
Okay,
volleyball
how do you
every
deal
single
with
day.
this?
Cool. Win.
Because I've had to deal with this
Huh.
recently. And it goes along with what you were just saying. So, right now, I've taken a step back from styling to really create this other business. And it's not easy to go from the top of your game to the beginning of your next game, right? And yes, I have plenty of cash in the bank. This business is doing great. I have other stylists who are busy styling people. Great, 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 great. But it's so difficult to take a step back. And I love summer because we travel a lot and do fun things. But then it's like, oh my gosh, I should be working. Oh my gosh, I should be styling clients. Oh my gosh, the bank account's a little bit lower than it was last month. And although everything's fine, it's like your monkey mind is going insane saying, no, you should be doing this because that's how you're successful and that's what blah, blah, blah. So, how do you deal with that? Like, if you do take a step back and you spend a few months with your kids, like, how do you mentally deal with that?
I mean, unfortunately, this business does that for you. You know what I mean? Like, it's you very rarely are you working, like, 24 hours a
Yeah.
day for 12 months out of the year. This business, your show normally ends and then you get a hiatus and then you get to come back. So normally
Mm,
you get a couple of months break. You can choose to work, you can whatever. But right now, because of the strike, um, we don't have a choice. I mean, we
yeah.
can't do anything. I mean, my hands are tied.
So it's
So
a
it's
little
a kind
easier
of a
because you
forced
can't actually
break.
do anything. Yeah.
It was like COVID, it was for
Yeah.
obviously COVID was horrible. For me, I had just gotten off of my last show had ended and I was shooting two shows
Wow.
at the same time out of town. I literally had braids on and then they would wrap my braids off. I would fly back in or I'd go to another set. They would put my braids underneath a wig that I was wearing for this other show. I mean, I was
Wow.
doing that for 8 months and I did it for 2 years and I was flying back and forth. I mean, it was like my
Yeah.
brain was going to explode. I was so happy because I'm like, who gets to do this? Who gets to do two shows at a time? I
Mm.
was so thrilled,
Yeah.
but I was exhausted. And I flew back March 8th from shooting and the world shut down March
Wow.
13th. And I was like, oh my God, this is the first time in 20 years that I
Mm.
can't look for a job. Like, I just can't. It's not even an option. And for a while, I was
Yeah.
actually kind of thrilled about it because as an actor, right, we see what people do, but then we see what
Mhm.
everyone posts, right? Like, oh, look, like I just did this job. Look at what I'm doing. Like, oh, look at me, I'm on set. Like, it
Yep.
seems so magical, right? And you do kind of have to keep up with like, okay, well, where's my next job? Where's my next job? What can I, promote myself? And, and so it was actually like the first time in a long time that I didn't feel like I was like grasping at what's next, what's next, what's next, just be home. And though it was like, careful what you wish for, because then I was like, oh no, we're going to be home for like a couple of years of your kids. I was like, I didn't really ask for that, um, but for the most part, especially the beginning, first 6 months or so, it was
Yeah.
kind of beautiful in a weird way. I'm not saying COVID was great. I'm just saying
I
like
agree.
to be home, like with kids and my husband and my animals for, every day and to come up with like
Yeah.
things to keep us entertained and God bakes so much bread. Right. Like, we like bought a cat stroller. Like we
Hilarious.
did
Yeah.
stupid stuff, but it was really fun. So yeah, that was kind of the
Yeah.
first time I took a forced break. Now with strike, same thing. Um, I think my husband and I in our careers have both, done pretty well in the last couple of years, especially. So now we can just, if I need to chill for a little bit and not, go
Yeah.
away, it's okay. And I know a lot of people stay home when their kids are little. I, I totally, my mom did the same thing. I feel like the years when they're like 12, 13 through, high school are like
Hmm.
so important to try to be around for. They're so fragile at this age. Like they don't realize how much they need you, but they
Mm.
like really need you to be available. You don't have to be like up in their business all day, but they know
Yeah.
even if you're just not home, they do, especially I've got girls and the play date planning and now they're out on their own a little bit more and they're figuring out their hormones and their emotions and their friendships and it's
Yeah.
very stressful, right? They've
I
only been on
know,
this planet
right?
for 12, 13, 14 years. Like, give them a break. Like give them a little bit of a break, right? Because don't you want a girlfriend that when you get older or a guy friend that
Yes.
gives you a little bit of a break? Because that's how empathy is created, right? You can't That's the only way to show them empathy and have them carry that on as adults is to show them
Hmm.
empathy when they're kids. It doesn't mean like passive parenting. These people are like, oh, this is all new age, whatever.
Yeah.
But like, this is a new age. So like, you can't parent like,
Mm.
you did 50 years ago.
I love
Show
that.
them a little grace. But I think to be home with them right now is like the
Hmm.
best gift. I mean, my daughter met this boy and she's like, we're gonna go like with some friends all together. And I'm like, I'll be there. I'll take you, but I'm gonna be in that mall,
Oh my gosh, I
just
love you so
in
much because I'm the
case.
exact same way.
I'm a cool mom, but my
Mm-hmm.
kids know I'm not your friend. I love you so much, but I am not your
Yeah.
friend. I'm your mom. And, you know, I'm an iron gate.
Hmm.
Nothing's getting past here without my approval. I don't apologize for it.
Yep.
You don't have to like it. You just have to live in it till you're 18. And we have a beautiful relationship, all three of us, but
I love
yeah,
that because
I'm that
I'm
mom.
that mom. Stella's taking French, and in seventh grade and eighth grade, they do a trip to France for spring break. And I
Oh yeah,
said,
yeah, yeah.
great, I will also be there. And, my husband's like, what are you talking about?
Yep.
I'm like, I'm going to be there. I'm not going to walk around stalking them, but I will be in Paris at the
Yeah.
same time. And
I see nothing wrong with that. I think it's perfect. They said do it now. Their kids go to like,
yeah,
Oxford or something for a summer camp and they'll just go, well, we'll just be in Europe. Like if
we're just
something
right
happens,
there.
we're like nearby. I
I
mean,
agree.
if you can, like, why not? I mean, my oldest did a trip last summer with her, like a huge group of kids. They did a World War II trip, and I could not have made that happen. I have another kid. Like, they were traveling to like six different
Wow.
countries in like 14 days. It was just too much. It was a lot, and she's older.
I
But I
agree.
feel like if you can, like, I'm like, 11, 12, they're still really
Agreed.
young in my eyes. I know that, maturity happens at different ages and bodies change at different ages, but for me, I'm just like, I don't know. I'm here until I feel like
Yeah,
I
I love
can
that.
not be
Because I
here.
think also the world gets more influence over them when they're in that age group.
Oh.
Stella's in a singer's camp this week, and it's for 11 to 17-year-olds, and she's
Oh, that's a
11.
wide span.
So she's the youngest, right? And her
Uh-huh.
new bestie is 15 and has a nose ring.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
And okay, no problem. But there's things that her
Hmm.
15-year-old friend has been exposed to and experiences that Stella doesn't need to be aware of yet. And that's a challenge. And if I'm not present with her asking the questions, and, I showed up, so I know this girl. So, meeting the friends and hearing about what's happening and kind of directing her, then you don't know what kind of child you're going to raise. So I totally agree with you. In the beginning of life, a lot of women stay home and then they just kind of let their kids do whatever. And someone a long time ago told me, your kids need you more in middle school and high school than they ever will as a child. And I went, really? That seems crazy. My mom was never around. Oh, that's why I did what I did. Right. That's why I would get in trouble all the time because my mother was never around. So having our mothers around is very important, especially if we're us.
My mom had lupus, I will say, for 35 years, but she stopped working when I got to like junior high-ish. And first I
Wow.
was like, oh my God, my mom's going to be home all the time. And then I was like, oh my God, my mom's going to be home all the time. I mean, that woman would like pick me up with a Tupperware. Remember the little three-part
Mm,
Tupperwares with like, it would be like a pork chop in there and green beans. Potatoes. I was like, this is great. Like, no fast food. My parents did
yeah.
not allow fast food unless we were on a road trip. But um, yeah, I mean, she was just, she would have killed for me. She was around to listen. She wasn't always my favorite person. She also pissed me off too, but like, that's kind of part of it. But she was there for me to cry and be like,
Yeah.
all the things. I knew that I could tell her anything and she wouldn't, you know, think anything bad of me I had really strong morals that weren't always popular opinion when I was really young. I didn't drink, I didn't go to parties, I didn't have sex. Like, I just, I'm not saying that everybody does that, but I feel like, there's a lot of pressure in the 15, 16, 17. A lot of parents, I have parents just drop their kids off with
Yeah.
me. They've never met me, don't know me from Adam. I could be a serial killer. They will just throw their kids. They won't even get out of the car. I'm like, guys, get out of the car. Just come and say hi. We don't have to be best friends. You don't have to stay for a glass of wine, but
I
like,
know.
just say hello. I don't know. My mother would have never. So
Hmm.
I make it a point that I'm like, if you're going to go hang out
Yeah.
with these people, I need to meet them. I need a phone
Hmm.
number. I need a text. We need to, we've got to have like a something. I'm not just going to like leave you in someone like with somebody else, whatever. It's just not going to happen. And I think I've never wavered on it. So they know that like there's no getting around it and they're fine with it. I'm not going to embarrass you. I'm not going to like follow you. I'm not going to whatever. But you are
Yeah.
my most precious like commodity in the entire
Right.
world. So like if I'm gonna take care of my fancy purse like
Agreed.
this, then you better believe I am gonna take care of you like a piece of glass and I'm gonna make sure that like, you're surrounded by people that are like-minded, that I don't have to worry. I read an article years ago when the kids were little and I
Yeah.
have to look it up because I use it all the time, but I remember it was called The Day I Chose My Kids' Friends. And it wasn't about like, you know, telling your kids you can't be friends with this person or that person. It was about doing the work, doing the research and steering your kids in the right direction, right? And it starts young, right? Oh, I want to have a play date. Oh, that they're
Mm.
unavailable. They've got soccer camp. Um, because I'm like, I'm not so sure, right? And you can say that I'm judgy, whatever, but you know what? I'm here for them And if that makes me uncomfortable or it rubs me a certain way, then I don't want my kids there. And that's okay. And they're not going to know. And, you gradually just steer them in the right direction. And then at
Mm.
some point, you stop steering the car and you hope that they steer the car in the direction that you've kind of been aiming them at. And, I see it. They'll meet friends and then they'll go, me take a step back. And I'm like, I'm so proud that like they're able at 13 and 15 to kind of like, they go in, thinking let's be friends or, let's hang out or whatever. And then they're able to go either, cool, like I'm going to keep going down that path or, nah, you know what? I tried. They're not really for me. Those are life skills. You know what I mean?
Did you ever have the experience when your girls were younger, when you were doing the steering for them, that they had friends at school that maybe you're like, not a great idea because you can't steer as much at school as you can outside of school? How did you handle that?
Um, you know what? I have to say, I lucked out in that way because we went to a really small school called the Willows here in LA. And for the most part, I kind of liked everybody. I mean, we got kind of lucky. There was only, it's like 20 kids in each class. And you kind of like, it's maybe there's one that's you're like a little like, but there was no one that everyone was pretty like-minded. And I think that was why we were all kind of in the same school together. Um, and so I didn't really have to do it. It was more, friends of friends or, meeting people now that they've gotten older or they go to camp or Peyton just took an acting class with some older kids, who were actually all lovely and wonderful. And I was fine with her, hanging out with some older kids. I thought they were really good influences actually. Um, that you can also show them the other side of 15, 17, where you have these kids that are really well rounded and really grounded and have great parents and are making, not necessarily like the cool choice, that are very centered in their own kind of path already. And so actually I loved that she was hanging out with some girls like that, were kind of like mentors in a way. Um,
Yeah. And I think that's so important. And that's one thing that we really connected with was not being popular moms, right? And doing the hard things. And one thing that you and I both had in common was that about cell phones and social media. So let's get into that for a minute. So Stella turns 11 in a couple weeks, and I think the majority of her friends have phones. And a couple of of friends are already on social media. And I am an advocate that she will not have a phone until she's 13. And she fights with it. And she'll say, but mommy, I'm already starting
mhm.
to be a mother's helper. So what if the parents leave? I need a phone. I'm like, well, if that happens, we will figure that out. Like, or we'll get you a cell phone that you can't do anything on except
Right, right,
for
right.
call
Like,
a number, right? And I'm not opposed to that. But um and I definitely do not think social media is healthy for any child. It's so damaging. So talk to me about your thoughts on that. And especially so talk to me about your thoughts on that, but also your experience because your girls are teenagers in LA with a
yeah,
actress mom. So it's a little more
yeah,
complicated
I get
than
it.
most.
They've always known. So as far as getting a phone, our kids, we said 13, same thing. They started their school that they're at, right at 13, and you kind of have to have a phone at school. It's how you scan things, it's how you
Okay.
find your kids at carpool. And
Mm,
so that's when they all got it literally right when they were starting Harvard Westlake. And they already knew that there was no social media. First of all, social media is technically 13 is supposed to be the age, not 11, not 10, not
yeah.
9. Yep. There's a 9-year-old friend's kid on there. I was like, what? Anyway, um, again, I'm going to sound judgy, and I am judging it. And that's okay because you know what
Judge
judgment
away.
does? It keeps you safe. It helps you it's wards off danger.
Mm,
That's why you have judgment, right? Whether it's emotional or physical.
yep.
Um, and, you know, I think because I've always told them like from 10, I'm like, you're never getting social media. Like you can have it later when you're out of the house or when you're older, but you're definitely not getting it at 13. Like it's not going to happen. It is the devil. sorry. We do it for fun. You know, back in the day, it was Facebook. It was really to keep touch with your friends that you already had. And it's turned into a
Yeah.
different, it's very different now than it used to be. And, now I ask them, I go, have you seen anything good come out of it as far as like teenagers? And they both can't say yes. It's like people are
Mm.
snapping, oh, I'm here, where are you? Oh, I didn't get invited. Oh, there's a party. Oh, you know what I mean? Like I'm tagging this person and not you. It's hurtful, and whether kids are doing it on purpose or not,
Mhm.
every kids want to feel included. They want to feel like they're part of something. They want to
Yeah.
think that people are thinking of them. That's natural. And I think that all you've done is heighten that and blown it up in their faces by putting them on social media. Not to mention the scrolling of like, look at this person and look at that person and look at their life. It's not healthy for adults. I mean, it's not even good for us.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't feel good. And I
Mhm.
have it, obviously. I use it for work, yay. But for the most part, I don't look at the like I don't know where you can
Yeah.
look up stuff. It's my friends. Like I'm like, what are my friends up to? Oh my God, look,
Totally.
she had a baby. Yay. Like that's
Yeah.
that's the good side of social media, right? The keeping in touch with people that you don't live next to. But I feel like now they've gotten past the point of asking for it. My older one kind of never cared. She's like, whatever. She's like, I have Pinterest. And I'm like, call your
Right.
friends, text your friends, FaceTime your friends. I will take you to go meet your friends.
Yeah.
I will do like have them over. They know I love a pool party. I'm like, we bought a house not too long ago and I was like, I want a
Yeah.
yard where like all the kids want to come and hang out. And so that's what we've tried to create is like an environment where
Mhm.
like your friends are always welcome here. I will always drive you wherever you want to go because,
Mhm.
that's what creates real friendship. Like spending time texting, calling, group chatting, whatever that is.
Mhm.
That's what it's supposed to be. Instagram and Twitter,
Mm.
that's not reality. Those are snippets of the best parts
Mm.
of someone's life that you're not a part of.
Even
It's
the
not.
ones where they're, let me just interject, even because now it's really cool to like show your deepest truth on Instagram and cry, even that is orchestrated.
Yes,
It's
they're
not
all
like it's not like I'm crying and I'm like, oh, I better turn on the Instagram live. No.
right. Come on. I mean, like, really, when you're in a deep, dark place, you think, you know what? Instagram, no, you don't. Like,
I'm going to show my
they,
vulnerability.
no, I mean, what I've done is I make fun of it all the time. I
Yeah.
do. I've joked about it for years. And so they're all, like, now they're like, ugh. Like, someone the other day was like, oh, yeah, like, they were over and they said, oh, it was an adult. She's like, oh, like, it's on Instagram. And Bean goes, "Ugh, we don't have social media. And I was like, yes.
Oh, that is a big win.
It was a big win.
Big win.
I didn't make a big deal of it. I didn't say anything. I just like overheard it. And I was like, they think of it as,
Normal.
a good thing that they
Yeah.
don't have it. And they're
Yeah.
like proud that like, they're like, ugh, like it's so beneath us. And I was like, oh my
I
God.
love that. And so, how do they deal with it that their friends are probably, because you're in LA, I'm sure their friends are
Um,
on social.
you know what? Here's the funny thing. My oldest daughter's friends aren't really on it. She has one that's
Mm.
on it. And so that's just her group and that's just not their bag.
Great.
My little one definitely, funny enough, like, that seventh grade friend thing where it like, it starts so big and then all of a sudden it does this. And then they all like, someone gets in a fight and then someone's doing this and someone gets a boyfriend and like, it kind of like does this weird, you'll see seventh grade is it's like an implosion. It's very
Okay.
interesting. And I heard that before, like from other parents, but I really
Mhm.
experienced it this year. And so what I found is that most of her friends that she has kept after like the shakeup of seventh grade are not either on it, or if they're on it, it's very minimal. And they're not doing like Snapchat or TikTok. They just have like an Instagram where they post like a picture of them, like, on their family vacation.
Yeah.
So it's not like leading their social life. Their
Uh-huh.
social life is led by like coming over and hanging out and going to the mall and things like that. And I think she's just found her people that aren't on that. And it's so funny, she'll never see this really, but so I can give this away. But she had a birthday party that was coming up in June. And she had a group of people she wanted to invite. And I said, great. We were going to do this hibachi thing. And then kind of towards like closer to the party, she said, you know what, can I add these three more girls? And I was like, okay. And I knew them and I was like, because she wasn't friends with them for a long time for, a reason. I said, are you sure? Yeah, they've been really nice lately. And, they're friends with some of the other people that are coming. And so, I said, oh, okay, okay. So we did. And I'm so glad that I didn't convince her not to,
Hmm.
because those three girls sat at this party for 6 hours like this.
Oh no.
And, it made me mama burn so hardcore.
Yeah.
But in a way, it was so much better for her to make that choice, see it
Mm.
in her own time in reality without me telling her, and then
Yep.
her to go, well, learned my lesson. Sometimes you got to let them
Yes.
fall a little bit. And so I'm glad that it worked out the way that it did, because
Yeah.
it really, she was like, oh, okay. And now they're, you know what I mean? Like,
To the
so
side
again,
again.
she found her path with it. She made her choices and then she, learned from it and moved on.
Yeah.
Um, so, but yeah,
I
those
love it.
girls are
I
the,
love
are
that
the
you,
best.
yeah. I love how much you know. I know, right? We were in the south of France last year, and there were these girls sitting next to us at dinner. And I'm not kidding you. They took selfies for 3 hours. And we were sitting outside on the ocean. And as the sun was going down, they had lights that they pulled out.
They were like,
I can't make this out. I can't make this up. They like pulled out their light to keep taking selfies. And A, that says everything about their self esteem, right? That you can't get one good picture of yourself. So you have to keep going for 3 hours. Like you are that critical of yourself because you're not going to do anything with 100 selfies.
I
You know,
just feel
you're
like
just trying to get one good one.
you miss
So
out on like life.
I know, and it saddened me. Yes, they missed out on life. And it saddened me that their self esteem must be that low that they can't get a perfect shot of themselves. Like, life isn't about being perfect. And the quicker we can let that go, and I'm a recovering perfectionist, the quicker we can let that go, the quicker we can like live our best lives.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah, I agree. Put the phone down.
I mean,
And
I think unfortunately, social media has made people feel that way, that
mhm,
it has to be, fake, that it has to be looks
perfect.
like it's airbrushed,
Yeah.
because you scroll through and you're like, well, that's what that looks like, and that got them 5,000 likes, and that got them a campaign for makeup, and that got them paid. So people go down that path and they
Yeah.
think that, and I'm not saying it's not true. Like, unfortunately, it's an evil truth right now. That is
Mhm.
it's a job and it's what people do. And I get it. Like, if let's say you were having a hard time and you decided to put yourself on Instagram and make a lot of money, I'm like, I don't really care. It doesn't affect my life,
Right.
right? Like, at all. Does not affect my life. I don't want my kids in it. I don't
Yep.
want my kids seeing what you're doing, but you're a grown up. I don't really care. Live
Yep.
your life, girl. Um, but again, I don't want my kids to see that because they're not old enough and mature enough yet to go, that's fake.
Yep.
Even if they can tell themselves that, you tell them that. Eventually, when they're scrolling through and they see every airbrushed person that they've
Yeah.
ever seen, you know what I mean? They're gonna start their mind will start thinking that that's natural and that's normal and that's what I should look like.
Yeah.
And it's just not reality.
Yeah.
It's not reality.
Or even YouTube, because I interviewed this girl once to be my assistant, and I always stalk people on social media to see if
Yeah.
they're the kind of people in real life that I would want to have work for me.
Right.
And she shows up for her interview, and she had too much makeup on, but okay, like
Okay.
maybe we could correct that, no problem. And then I stalked her, and she does a makeup tutorial on YouTube. And I'm not kidding you. She did not look like the same human being. She
Wow.
has like these beautiful freckles and like a different complexion. And she did 6 layers of foundation to cover her freckles.
Oh no, I love freckles. You know what my daughter does for fun, Peyton? She will put little freckles right here. She's like, Mom, freckles are so cute. She loves them.
Oh,
She's
I
like, she'll
love
just
them.
put dots on her face. And she's
Yeah.
like,
So I think
Oh,
we have to teach our children, especially
yeah.
girls, that to love themselves no matter what. I mean, we're not even going to get into body issues and all of that because we could talk about teenage girls for
I
hours.
will
But
say though, I'm so glad though that in media now, especially with like clothing ads and things like
hmm
that, that they're showing all shapes.
yeah, me
Not
too.
every company does it, but it is so nice. Even when you're walking through the mall, like the what do you call those things? The forms that they put the
The
clothes on.
mannequins.
The mannequins are
Yeah,
like different sizes. I
I
mean,
know.
maybe I don't know, maybe it's not in the rest of the country, but at least where we are,
No, it's
I would
everywhere.
say like they all look like normal people.
I
Like
know.
and you can get so caught up, especially in LA, because you walk around and it is, listen, it's not a joke that it's like the town of like the pretty people. It's
Yeah,
you walk around and you're like, everyone's like Beverly Hills. You're like, God, everyone's like a supermodel and everyone is a size zero. Like,
yeah,
look at all these people. It's like models in the wild, but like, that's not what everybody looks like. Everybody's body is everybody's body, and
yeah.
we've all gone through, different phases, and reality is that that body type of like just a curvier person or whatever it may be, and there's thin people that are just naturally thin too,
Right.
but having them see all kinds and
Mhm.
all kinds of famous people in different bodies now that are
Yeah,
openly showing their bodies, like Lizzo and things like that, like you know it's beautiful. So I
I
do
know.
feel like that wasn't around when I was a kid. It was like the thinner the better, like everyone wanted to look like
Right.
thin supermodels. And so I'm so glad that it's kind of like it's not perfect, but like we're
Me
people are
too.
trying.
Yeah.
We're trying.
People are
Moving the
trying.
needle.
But I do think people are trying. But to go back to this whole conversation, which is that it all starts at home.
Yes, 100%.
So positive body image starts at home with the moms, right? Like
Yep.
if we're critical of our bodies, our girls are going to be critical of their bodies. If we talk about
100%.
other people's bodies not being
Right.
perfect, our kids are going to start judging.
Oh, I see that so much with people talking about other people's bodies to their kids,
Yeah.
or you know what I mean? Like just just don't do it.
Just
Don't
don't
do
ever
it.
go there.
The urge, because your kid will hear that, and
Yep.
whether they say it right away, they will go out into the world and they
Mhm.
will either think that or they'll say that. And it's, listen, you can think it all you want, but if you go, oh my God, did you see what she was wearing?
Yeah.
Oh, it's
Mhm.
so, just resist the urge.
I know.
There's no reason to. If it doesn't affect my life,
Yeah.
I don't care. Does it
I love
affect
that.
you? I don't care. Let her. Just
Let her
let
be
her.
her.
Let her be her. Let him be
I love
him.
it.
Let them be they. I don't care. It doesn't affect me.
Yeah.
I'm gonna eat dinner tonight. Like
Right.
it really is like it is a way of life, because I really, it's so not important in the
Yeah.
grand scheme.
I
We
agree.
try to use, Pinterest and things like that. We do a lot of crafting in our house. We do a lot of cooking. We do like stuff that we can do all
I
together.
love
I
that.
really try not to focus on all of it. Their new thing is thrifting. They love going thrift shopping, which is like all the rage.
Yeah.
Just
Isn't
get
that
yourself a
hilarious?
haul. Like, I know, right? I'm like, look at that 90s outfit that's like coming back. Like,
It
do you
used to
remember
be like, oh, I can't wait to save up my money for that special thing. And
Junie
now it's
work?
like,
Yeah,
let's go grunge it out and find
right.
used clothes.
Right. Yeah. They're like, look what I got for $1. I
Right.
searched through all these dirty clothes and I found, I'm
Right.
like, "Great. I love it. Listen, if you want to come home with a bag full of things for $20, I'm like,
That you'll
fine,
wear once and throw out. That's cool.
I'll wash it for you. I have to say, they're both really good at finding stuff. And you would not have guessed this, but Japan has some of the most amazing thrift stores that I've ever seen.
Japan
Like,
does?
oh my God,
Oh,
Tokyo,
wow.
Kyoto, Osaka, like absolutely amazing vintage stores that are like so cheap. I mean, both my kids found like designer stuff for like
Mm.
$15. Like,
No.
oh yeah. No, we came back with some like vintage Gucci, some like
Wow.
vintage Ralph Lauren. I mean, great finds. And, it's something that my big thing too is that I really don't like following. I'm like, don't follow. Like,
Hmm.
don't be lazy with your likes, right?
Yeah.
Like something because you like it.
Right.
Don't like something because
It's
it's just
cool.
everybody likes it. Like,
Hmm.
I mean, there's going to be things that you go, oh, everybody likes it because it's really great. That's cool. But like, if you're just dressing like everyone else, and so my kids, you'll see, well, they're like, they wear all kinds of stuff. They like it because they like it. They
Yeah.
don't care what other people think. I'm like, I just feel like, yeah, take them somewhere else. Like, take
Yeah.
them to a vintage store, take them thrifting, take them somewhere where, like, no one else is going to have that shirt.
Yeah.
No one else is going to have that pair of whatever pants that you found that from 1997. Like, find it because your eye looks at it and goes, "Oh, that's so cool." Like,
Yeah. And I think
love
that's
that.
with everything, right? You
Yeah.
don't need to follow.
You don't need to follow 100%.
You've done
So,
such amazing job with your girls.
no,
Such,
thank you. I know. Here's my thing. Time will tell, right? Because they're still kids, right? They're still under my roof. We still have to send them out on their own. But I am like,
no, but
oh,
they're such kind girls.
thank
And
you.
I know because
Thank you.
I've met them and they were
Same with yours. They
so
were so sweet together.
They were so sweet with Stella, who's younger and not the teenager yet. And they were so kind. And I just really appreciate the work that you've done because I think like you and I raise my daughter very similarly to you. And a lot of times I feel completely alone. I am not
Yeah,
doing it the way anyone else is doing it.
yeah. Same.
And I am okay with it. Like,
Yep.
this is how I choose to parent. Even when my husband argues with me, like, you need to give her more space. Nope, I actually don't.
Yeah,
Like,
that's right.
you do you, I'm going to do me.
Yep, yep,
And,
yep.
I'm pretty proud I have a kind, amazing daughter. But
Yeah.
during these influential years that are coming up where life's going to change dramatically, like, we're going to reel it in and be kind.
Yeah, I totally could not agree with you more. I mean, I saw that you guys went to Disneyland. We're still theme parkers. We go
Right.
to Disney, we go to Knott's, we go,
Yeah.
try the ice creams and do all the, like, I'm not
Yeah.
saying keep them young. I'm just saying, kind of keep them enjoying things that are fun, that are just for them, that,
Yeah.
maybe aren't popular opinion or what everybody's doing, but keep those like in your relationship with your kids. I feel like
Mhm.
it's so important to, like,
Me too.
not just go, well, I guess all the kids are doing this. They're dropping their kids off at Century City Mall, so just like we're just going to do that too. And it's so funny because the question I always get is, how did you get them not, to be on social media? And it makes me chuckle. I chuckle every time I go, I just said no. And they're
Right.
like, what? I'm like, I just said no. And they're like, but I'm like, no, no,
You're the
it sounds
parent.
hard. I just said no. Like, it's not some secret, like, sauce that I'm not telling you about. Like, you have so much power as a parent. You have the
Mhm.
same amount of power that you have to love is the same amount of power that you have to say no. And
Yeah.
you're doing it with the same amount here. I love you, and I'm saying no because I love you. They're
Yeah.
right there. That's
Yeah.
it. That's it.
And it is interesting because I know I experience it a lot. Like, she tries so hard to break me down. Like, she is so strategic and she'll like come at me and then, like, okay, that didn't work. She'll reevaluate and a couple days later come at me with something different about whatever she wants.
That's it.
Oh,
Yep.
sleepovers, because we don't
Oh,
do sleepovers.
got it. Yeah, no, I get
And
it.
I'm a no about sleepovers. Nothing good happens. So I'm like, they're trashed the next day. Like,
Oh, no, they are.
they have
It's like a how
conversations that
late
they,
can you stay up party,
yeah.
you know?
So I'm like, you can have sleep unders. You can stay up late and watch movies and do all the things that you would
Right,
do,
that's the new thing, right?
but you
We
sleep
pick
in
you
your
up at
own
11.
bed. And she'll come at me like, oh, mommy, I'm the only person. That's okay. But so and so, that's okay. So she's trying to find like her group that's fine with her being able to come over
Yeah,
till 11 and then we pick her
right.
up. Like,
And that's fine. And one day she'll go, "Oh yeah, my mom didn't let me have sleepovers till blah 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 blah." Is she gonna die? No.
no,
She'll be fine. She's gonna be just fine. I didn't have sleepovers either. My
she might be
kids did
better. In
later,
fact, I
but
think,
like one house, it was a mom and dad, one girl. They were best friends since they were two. That was kind of it. But I can tell you, 9 times out of 10, she called us anyway, and we still went to pick her up. So, and my other one wasn't into them either.
yeah,
Um, but they will tell you too. They're like, "Why would I stay there when I can stay here?" I'm
right?
like, "Good, cool.
Right,
Hey, come on. I don't care.
right.
Yeah, it's fine. Go have a good time." And now I think we're past it in a way, except for now Peyton will have, like, I'm like, again. have your friends here.
Yeah.
I will take all your friends in. You can have 8 girls here.
Yeah.
Fine. I don't care. At least I can watch you guys and I can kind of control the narrative. So
Yeah. I
that's what we're
totally
trying.
agree.
He's still so little. Yours is still so little.
Totally. But they start at like 8 or 7, which is
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
crazy to me. But
Yeah. I just think you should still keep looking at them as kids, you know? It's
and I
everything.
nurture that.
Yeah. They're
Yeah, like
trying to
I
grow.
think you're 10 going on 11. I want you to be 10
Yeah.
until you're 11. And then once you're 11, then you can be 11, but like we don't need to do like all the things everyone else is doing. We
No,
don't
we don't
need to
need to.
be.
No, and I think that's a whole, that's society right now. That's social media. There's,
Mhm.
kids that are, on there with the thing and and we were just talking about how, some of these kids try to follow me. My daughter's like really
Yes.
young friends. And, I'll tell their parents, like, I'm about to block your kid because they're too young and I don't want them going back and talking to my kids about me on social media either. So yeah, my older daughter's friends, I don't mind. There's like two, they're older, but the younger ones, I don't let follow me.
Yeah. I love
Yeah,
that.
any of their business.
I know, right?
I'm
I know.
not, I've had
But
9, 10, 11 year olds. I'm like,
yeah.
sorry.
And so here's what I love. And I think the deep messages for me and for you, if I can speak for you, is as a parent, and especially as a woman, as a mom, you have to be willing to set boundaries and you have to be willing to say no if you actually want your child to be respectful, to be kind, to, be the best kind of human being. If it's something you think to say no to, you don't have
Sure.
to agree with us.
No,
You can follow
everyone,
your own path, but be
yeah,
willing.
there are ways.
Yeah, but be willing to say no and still have love be
Yeah,
present. So,
yep,
and
yep.
be willing to do what's right instead of what everyone else is doing.
Whatever feels right for your family
Mhm.
is those are your own boundaries. You can do whatever you want. But I can tell you that saying yes to everything probably not going to work in the long run.
No.
It's like at some point, kids need structure. They crave
Hmm.
structure. They want it. If that's like a scientific study.
Yeah.
You can't just let them be on their own. They need you to tell them what to do. They've
Yeah.
only been here for X amount of years.
Yeah.
It's up to you. So again, those are our no's. That's my no. That's my husband and I's no. We're on a
Yeah.
united front. Their phones don't go into they don't
Yeah.
stay in their room overnight. They come out, they get plugged in, we say goodnight, the lights go off, they go in a cabinet. Like, there's certain rules. Like, that's just what it is. There's no
I love
other
it.
option.
I
It's
love it.
just so
I love
anyway,
it. Well,
that's me.
I love it. I adore you. And I'm so grateful to have this conversation with you. And I could
Me
talk to you
too.
all day.
I know, me too. My husband's like, "What are you doing?" That we're going to lunch. I'm like, "Oh, okay, okay."
You're like, oh,
Uh,
sorry. Tell him I'm sorry. I kept you a little
oh,
longer.
he's
I
fine.
adore your husband. He's so sweet. What a great man. And you
Thank you.
guys are very
And yours
inspiring.
too. Your sweet family. It was so fun on our boat. I mean,
I
gosh, we got to
know.
do Cabo again.
I know. I know. We'll just meet in the next
Yeah,
location, right? If you want to
perfect.
come to Europe on
We'll do a
Saturday with
girls.
us, come.
Yes, we'll
Um,
do a girls.
So, just to wrap it up, if people don't know you yet and they want to find you, I know there's a strike. You can't talk about current projects. So, I'm just
No.
going to say Google is your friend.
Yeah, Google's your friend. There's one of
Right?
them right there.
Exactly. There's one of them.
I'm in my office.
And there's many more. And
Yeah,
you're amazing.
thank you. You're amazing. Thank you for having me on this. This is so fun.
Oh my gosh, it was so fun. We covered so much. And anytime I may call you about some other things. So,
I'm here for you, lady. Let's do it.
collab. You're
Have the
amazing.
best time. Have the best time. And I
Thank
can't
you.
wait to hear all about your
Okay.
trip.
Have an awesome day. Ladies, thank you so much for listening today. As a thank you, we've created a freebie for you, the top 4 jeans that look amazing on every woman. And you can find that in our show notes and download it right away so that you can look amazing. And if you like this podcast, please subscribe and give us a 5-star review. We would love to spread the word. Have a great day. Thank you.